Welcome back, everyone. It's time for another Three Blind Mice build. And to the best of my knowledge, this was the first build that the Three Blind Mice did, and they resurrected it as an anniversary. This is the 56 Hot Wheels Flashsider. Interesting casting. This one has some weird Psycho Circus decals on it. My least favorite base color in gold or plastic color. I can't stand the gold. It just doesn't do it for me. So we'll be getting rid of that. So I jumped right in here, and I had to do a little extra wobbling of the drill bit. This base was not coming off. I don't know why. It could just been an anomaly. So you can see me struggling with this, but I do get it off. I'm not really sure why it was giving me such a problem. Could be just one of those things. So, just to give you a heads up on where I'm going with this, I'm doing all the paint and rattle can. Excuse me. So, the base I ended up with the appliance epoxy in black, and the body I did in white appliance epoxy, both from, pretty sure they are Rust-Oleum. I just love the results with it, so I figured I'd try and just do a whole vehicle with the same paint. And here I'm yanking the wheels, and they spared no expense on the interior. There is actually no seat. The window itself is blacked out. You can't see anything through it. So that kind of is a little shortcut because we don't have an interior to worry about. So I'm taking a little 150 grit sandpaper and just going around the post just to get some of the ridge off from drilling it out. Pretty simple step, and it saves you from any nightmares when you're putting the base back on. So moving on from that, I did a little sanding with a sanding stick to make sure I got any burrs off. Just makes it clean for when you're done and you're ready to finish and reassemble. Here we are drilling our 1/16th hole so we can tap our post. There's me trying to find the center of the camera. Still not any good at that. So we drill the post, make sure we get out any metal shavings as they're climbing up the drill bit. You just kind of peel them off, and then I tap out the hole usually, make sure anything inside the hole comes out. You don't want to bind up your drill bit and possibly snap it. So rinse, lather, repeat, or lather, rinse, repeat with the drill bit. And then here is our tap, which is obviously out of focus. I didn't catch that. But you can see the material that builds up on your tool. So you want to make sure you clear that off and tap out any residue from there on the tap. And again, that's lather, rinse, repeat. You continue to do this until you think you are deep enough for your screw. You can see material winding its way out of the hole. And then back out your tap. And again, you want to make sure you get any metal off your tap. And when you are done, you can fit a screw and make sure that's going to work for you when you reassemble. Here is our Flashsider body going for a little paint stripper swim. See ya. And then rather than fill, I've stated this before, rather than fill up a jar all the way, I like to leave my jar halfway full, set it on its side in a Tupperware container, and let it sit overnight for the paint stripping. And here is our body out of the paint stripper and ready for some wire wheeling, some sanding, some filing. There's a couple of flash spots on the casting. They were really pretty ugly, so I took to the metal files and tried to really smooth some of them out and make the body lines a little bit better. So, wire wheel. Here is our file and sanding sticks and emery boards. Whatever gets the job done. So this is just more prep work to get rid of some things that I didn't like. So I skip, as usual. I never show my paint work. There are so many good painters that do these restorations and customs. I think you would learn a lot more from checking their channels out. So you can see the body there in the epoxy white or appliance epoxy white. I ended up painting the tonneau cover in flat black primer, and then I clear coated the entire body after the decals are on. So I like showing the decal process in its entirety. I sped it up a little bit so it's not as boring to watch. So in short, I use a paper towel for the backing. You can see me putting the decal on rather than submerging it entirely, because these are homemade decals and I don't trust that even though that there is a bonder over the top of the decal after I printed it, I don't like to submerge them. So I forgot where I learned this trick. So water on a paper towel, acting like a sponge, and then just let the backing on the decal soak up and separate from the paper. And then use a couple of Q-tips to squeegee out any water underneath. And because I use the epoxy paint, there's no need to worry about if you used an acrylic paint, you might get some softening of the paint when you're applying the decal because of the water. Acrylic paint is water based, so this is epoxy paint, and there's no worries for actually damaging the paint when you're using the water based decal. So we let that soften up and separate, and same process. Put a little bit of water on your piece so the decal will continue to slide and you can position it a little better. If need be, you can put a little bit more water on and help reposition. And then one Q-tip to hold the decal in place and the other one to squeegee the water out from underneath it and dry it up a little bit. And then we dab and blot. Make sure we are completely dry before we use our microsol to help soften up the edges. And basically, it's kind of like melting the edges to help for better adhesion. And here is a little bit of the finishing work. I actually sprayed the bumpers. I taped off the bottom half of the body and used some metallic chrome spray paint. And here I'm putting on just some Tester's red enamel for my rear marker lights. I actually had a little mishap. Um, I sprayed the silver paint for the chrome bumper or for the bumper in the front and the bumper in the rear. And then after I applied my clear coat, some of it lifted a little bit. So I had to go back with a little silver tester's enamel paint and touch that up. You may or may not see it on the final reveal. And here I'm using, I think this is Hobby Masters Amber Metallic for the front marker lights. And then I used Tester's metallic silver enamel for the headlights. So I just show the amber marker lights being done here with a toothpick. And it's kind of like a little dab will do ya. So this will be the final touch-up work before the final reveal. I spared you the details of putting the base back on because that's kind of like business as usual. There was nothing really spectacular about this piece. So I put it together, and there she is. The wheels are Real Riders. I had to do a little customization on those, which wasn't really crazy to do, but I got through it. I may just do a video on how to do those wheels, but there she is in all her glory. A little tribute to old school Gulf petroleum products. The 56 Flashsider with a black tonneau cover. Acrylic white, epoxy white. And some American automotive clear. That's basically it. It's pretty simple. But I kind of like the old gasoline stuff. I figured that's where I go with it. So, everybody, here's my contribution. Hope you like it. Thanks for subscribing, watching, and sending me all the wonderful comments I've been getting. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.